the Edmund. If you've been with us from the start of the year, to this present moment, you know that we've been doing live streams every day. Now, for the month of March, we took a quick break. Of course, I earned it, but we're back. Don't ask me about what I've been up to, but I'm super excited to be with you guys again today for us to discuss something really important, really necessary for today's current climate. And I believe that the things that I'll share with you today are going to resonate deeply. I'm going to confront certain ideals, certain things that you hold on to strongly, and I'm actually going to make you question the things that you believe in. I'm actually excited about that. I love to wrestle with ideologies. I love to wrestle with some of the things that people believe in. And I know that it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful live stream. So let's begin. I want to start by saying that there are certain things that happen in your life that you will never have answers to. Very simple. There are certain things that will happen to you. You will never understand why it's happening to you. You will put two and two together and you'll never be able to have an answer to that. It won't make sense. There are certain things that will never make sense, and you will try to find answers to those things. You will never find answers to. There are also certain things that you can't explain. You can find answers to it, but you just can't explain why it happened. You don't know the source. These are the things that make the world that we live in very interesting. Very interesting. And I think a lot of people don't understand this. So sometimes we spend time racking our brains about the things that we're dealing with, some of the things that we're experiencing. And what you don't understand is you can't explain every single thing that happens to you. You can't explain every single thing that happens to some of the people that you know, some of the people that you know of. You don't have an explanation to all of that, nor sometimes can you even find answers to those things. You can find answers, you might not be able to explain it. You might be able to explain it, but it still wouldn't make sense. You understand? And that is the kind of world that we live in. But I want to encourage you today, right? There is an important conversation that needs to be had about what your belief system is. This is more like a part two. So for those of you that already joined our live stream a couple of weeks ago, I talked about what is your belief system, and today's live stream will be like a part two of that live stream. And I want to continue what I was saying by letting you know that it is easy for you to be hopeful. It is easy for you to be optimistic in today's world if everything is going your way. When life is great, when life is going well, when life is beautiful, when life is amazing, you have the confidence, you have the joy of life. Faith isn't necessary when life is going well. Who cares about faith, right? Faith is important. Faith is important. Hope is important. Being optimistic is very important in today's day and age, right? When you turn on the TV, when you go on social media, almost all the things that you see are negative. Almost all the things that you see don't really encourage you to be hopeful and optimistic in our world, right? But when things are going great in your personal life, when things are going amazing, the relationship is great, finances are great, the career is great, there's no need for faith. Faith isn't as important, faith isn't as relevant. But what is the true meaning and essence of your faith when things aren't going your way? Victor Gonzalez and Caroline Moore says, hi, welcome to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you go subscribe to the channel. Lil GB says, how's your day going? My day is amazing. It's beautiful. I'm glad to be back. I took a break from streaming. I'm Kai Sanat. I took a break from streaming. I'm back. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I feel great about today. We're going to talk about some important things. We're going to learn some important things today. It's going to go great. So let's really begin. And I want to begin by saying that most of the times it's easy to have joy and be hopeful about life because things are going great. But that is not the use of faith. Faith has no meaning when life is going great. Faith is practically useless. Faith is impotent when life is going well, because life is going well. The true essence of faith, the true essence of hope, the true essence of being an optimist in a world that is ruled and driven by fear is that when things are not going your way, you still have hope. You still have something to believe in, right? Let me make this more personal because I like to talk about relationships and stuff. Those are the kinds of things I like to talk about. So let's bring that topic in here. You've been dating this gentleman for 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, and you love this man so much that you've been willing to compromise on certain things. You've been willing to bend certain morals, certain things that you don't typically do. You've been comfortable doing those things for this individual. And then in the back of your mind, you know that this is someone that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You've made plans with this individual. You've decided that this is who you want to spend the rest of your life with. And this individual comes to you and says, I no longer want to be with you. I am leaving. And they walk out. How do you respond to that? Where does the joy of life and the joy of loving people and believing in love and believing in hope and believing in a healthy relationship, does that die when people that are close to you, people that you're committed to, walk away? Oh, it's easy to be an optimist. It's easy to encourage people when things are going great because things are going great. But when things go wrong, when everything goes south, what is the evidence that you have a strong spirit? What is the evidence that you have a strong mind when things don't go your way? When things that are supposed to go your way don't go your way, how do you respond to that? How can an individual be full of life, be full of joy, when the things that they know they must have are not coming their way? How do you respond to that? Faith, hope, continuing to be an optimist in a world driven and ruled by fear, right? I'm not married, but assuming that someone is, right? Assuming that you're married to a woman, right? A wonderful woman. And she comes to you and she tells you that she's lost the spark. Or you begin to see that this woman no longer holds you in high esteem. She no longer looks at you the way she used to look at you when it was all butterflies and roses and all that good stuff. How do you respond to that? Do you say that because of her action and because of the way she's treating you and making you feel, I'm going to look elsewhere? So you stay, but you're looking elsewhere. Or do you say that if we were able to create something meaningful and powerful, we can do it again? Wherever the joy and the spark was, we can find that joy and spark again. Whenever life happens to us, and life is always happening in different ways, in different seasons, through different means, life is always happening. And when life is always happening to us, we have different ways of responding. Practically speaking, there are two ways to respond to life when things happen to us and they're negative. We can look at the situation and be full of faith, be full of hope, continue to be an optimist, and say that things are going to get better and I'm going to find a way to continue having my joy of life and having peace and working through something, instead of, well, all hell is breaking loose right now. I don't know what to do. I'm losing my mind. And I give up. I give up. Frankly speaking, I just give up. And the reality is, a lot of people have silently given up on life, silently giving up on themselves. And sometimes you can see it in their health, right? You can, the visual representation that a man has given up on himself or an individual has given up on themselves is how they look sometimes, how they look. And it is painful to see that because life is always happening. We live in a world ruled by evil. They're good and evil forces. And sometimes there are things that we demand and we must have, and those things, they will come eventually, but they don't come in the season and the time that we want it to. And so when those things delay, how do we respond? Where is our joy of life? Where is that strength, that motivation to keep going when we're not feeling the things that we need to feel? Crazy situation after crazy situation. Crazy situation after crazy situation. And what do I say to that? I look at that and I just smile. The evidence that my spirit is strong, the evidence that I'm hopeful about the kind of future that I will have, or that the fact that things will get better for me is the fact that even when the roadblocks are clear as day, I refuse to confess what I feel and what I see. Right? And for those of you that are familiar with the story of Job, right, Job was told, curse God and die. And he was told, curse God and die, because in his situation, they couldn't possibly imagine a way out. His situation was so bad that the individual just was like, you know what? I'm looking at you and I don't think that there's a way out for you. So curse God and die basically means that there's no essence for you to live. Your life no longer has any meaning. So it'll be better for you to be dead. And you see how dangerous that is? Is the fact that sometimes even when we're still willing to fight and deal with some of the battles and the things that we deal with, Lord knows the things that you deal with. Lord knows the things that you deal with in your own personal life, at work, in your relationships, so many things. When you've put your mind to continue working and building something, sometimes the people around us, out of love or out of just flat out ignorance, can be a cancer to our growth, because they can look at us and they can inflict their fear. They can project their fear on us. They can't possibly imagine. They know that they can't deal with such a situation. Oh, I know that I don't have what it takes to handle such a situation. I would fold. I would cry. I would lose my mind. I would be down. I'd be troubled. And so because of all these things that I'd be feeling, I use that and I say, dude, this is crazy. I would just give up at this point. I would call it a day. Right? And it sounds like good advice, but it's really not. Because any kind of information, any kind of advice that you'll get that will leave you in the same situation or worse off is not good. Why would I give up when I could continue believing that there's hope out there for me? So if someone that was really important to my journey, if someone that was really important to me growing and being a part of my life decides to walk away, do I lose my mind? Do I give up on life? Do I give up on love? Do I give up on trusting people? Or do I say that whatever it is that this individual wanted to do, they've done it, they've gone. But I will continue to have my joy of life. I will continue to build myself, become a better person, and get ready for the next thing that's ahead of me. There's no in between. Unfortunately, there's no middle ground. It's one or the other. So when negative situations happen to us, we have two choices. We have to either be bold, be strong, be confident in the fact that life is going to get better, or we can throw our hands up in the air and say, this is crazy. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, and I just give up, right? And exhaustion isn't a bad thing. Being exhausted with life isn't a terrible thing. Being exhausted with life doesn't mean that you're not strong enough, or that you're not optimistic, or you're not hopeful. No. Exhaustion is part of life. It's normal, right? But what do you do when you're tired? Do you refuel to keep going? Or do you just throw in the towel and say, that's it? I'm not gonna try anymore. It doesn't even matter. My efforts don't make any my efforts don't make a difference. As long as we believe that something is going to happen, there is always the hope of the future. There's always the hope of the future. And for those of you that are Christians that may be watching this, or those of you that know God, one of the wonderful things about God is the fact that our future is his past. Because God exists outside of time, right? And so the belief here is that if he has your best interest at heart, and he sees the work that you're putting in, he sees the sacrifices that you're making, and currently your present circumstance is showing that everything is going sideways, you know you can bank your faith, you can bank your hope in him, because the future, which is his past, is going to be great. The future that you are uncertain about is going to be great. And I have more hope in the future than not. But it's a simple thing that everyone has to come to terms with, right? And everyone has to make a decision, because for whatever thing you believe in, you're going to be tested on it. Anything. If you believe in love, you're going to get tested, because at a certain point, when the feelings die down, right? When the feeling of love and the butterflies and the roses isn't there anymore, are you still going to be committed to this person? Or do you just say, nah, I move and act based on how I feel, and now that the spark is gone, I'm gone. And and so a lot of people go through the cycles of life without really realizing that we can say that we're hopeful, we can say that we have so much joy of life, and we're happy, we're excited, we're content, but it's because things are going well. And so if things are going well, then none of that matters. None of the optimism and being hopeful and optimistic and strong and confident and being able to get yourself out of bed every single day to do the things that you do, none of that matters. It only matters when life gets tough, when the challenges come and things don't make sense, things don't add up, and you're beginning to question and wonder about a lot of things. What is your state of mind when those seasons come? That's the difference maker. That's what I'm talking about over here. How do you respond to those situations? And the reason why all of this is important, the reason why we need to have this conversation, is because our world is ruled by fear. There are more things that are out there to keep you misinformed, to keep you fearful, to keep you doubtful, to keep you faithless. The market moves on fear, speculation, oil prices, gas prices, everything. So much fear, anxiety, worry. People take drugs for these things because we're anxious, we're worried about something, things are not going the way we want them to, and so we need an escape. We need to find a way to deal with this thing that we're so fearful about, that we have to go and take on another thing. And whatever thing that we take on becomes problematic to us in the long run, because that also comes with its own side effects. That's what I'm talking about. And the truth of the matter is, if you go through life, you're going to find so many reasons to stop believing. You're going to find so many reasons to give up on whatever it is. A lot of things don't make sense. And a lot of things sound crazy. A lot of things look crazy. And you will always find more reasons to not do something good than to actually do something good. There'll always be more negatives than positives for any good thing that you want to do. It's more safe to be single and not commit. It's easier to do that. It's easier to just be by yourself and be an isolationist and mind your own business. That's easy. Loving someone is difficult. Choosing to trust someone is difficult. It's great when it's the right person, but it's difficult because it involves a lot of compromise and sacrifice. All of that can be difficult for someone who's fearful, someone who's afraid. They're so afraid of trying something that they never attempted. They take a step forward and then they take like 3 steps back. How do we convince such an individual to try, to just full send? Just do it. Right? The way we do that is by having these conversations, because these conversations are reminders to us that, of course, we live in a world that is ruled by fear. We live in a world that is ruled by negativity. Negativity sells, right? The negativity sells. The news media always has something negative to say. It keeps you hooked. And so if I can remind you to do the right thing, if I can remind you to change your perspective, to believe more, to have more faith, to have more belief, to have more hope, to be more optimistic, even during the difficult seasons when everything you know is being tested, your patience is being tested, your love is being tested, when everything is being tested, if I can remind you of those things, to keep doing those things, you build strength of character and you can last for longer battles. Because the journey doesn't get easy as we go. It gets more complex, it gets more difficult. But in these difficult seasons, if we build resilience, we can remember some of the difficult seasons that we went through and be able to overcome when another season comes in. That's what it is. As simple as that. As simple as that. If I can remember that I went through a difficult season and I was hopeful, I was optimistic, and even when I couldn't see the way out, even when I didn't know that there was going to be an end, I still kept believing. I still chose to believe that something good could happen, even when I was exhausted. Think about what that does to an individual. Think about what that does to their spirit and their inner state of mind when they face other series of difficulties. They're built. They can withstand anything. And it's not that they're superhuman or they're like a god or something, but it comes with the small battles, right? It comes with the very small battles that we face and knowing how to respond when those challenges arise. When those difficult situations come, we don't throw our hands up in the air and then we just give up and we lash out and we're mad at the world, we're mad at God, and we're mad at everyone around us. No. We understand that there's certain things that we can't explain. We understand that there's certain things we won't have answers to. We understand that there's certain things that don't make any sense. We make peace with that, and we continue to have hope and push forward. That is the life that I'm trying to get you to embrace. And if you've already embraced that frame of thought, if you've already embraced that, then wonderful, amazing. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Because only those who are willing to go through the difficult situations of life still choose to love, still choose to have hope, still choose to trust. Only those people will see the end of the tunnel. Will see the end of the tunnel. And it's a long tunnel. It's a very long one. It's going to be discouraging sometimes. You're going to have to fight through certain battles alone. But if you can remember these core principles, you will be fine and you will survive. All right. It's been wonderful. This is my first live stream back. I took a 2-week break. I'm officially back. And I will see you on the next live stream sometime tomorrow. Wonderful. Take care.